An appearance, zombies, and motorcycle racing. Today on the show, Tommy and I take a look at Evil Dead Regeneration, MotoGP 3, Sonic Gems Collection, and in Versus, it's Mobile Suit Gundam, Gundam versus Zeta Gundam against Armored Core 9-Breaker. Some of the games we look at in Reviews on the Run are intended for a mature audience. Please pay attention to each game's ESRB rating. All right, first game we're talking about today is Evil Dead Regeneration. This is developed by a company called Cranky Pants.
Cranky Pants. I love that name. Cranky Pants.
It's a great name. And it's out there for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. What did you think of Evil Dead Regeneration?
Well, the thing with Evil Dead Regeneration, this is by far the best Evil Dead game.
Yes.
And I know I've worked on some crappy ones.
We got a good Batman 3D game this year, and a good Evil Dead.
A good Evil Dead game.
And you're right, it's much better than the Evil Dead game that you worked on.
And what makes it great is that it has very simple controls.
Yes.
It's easy to get into. It's very simple. I mean, it's, enemies come at you and you blow them away, but that's what an Evil Dead game should be.
But it also delivers a lot of that Sam Raimi sense of humor.
Totally.
All the cutscenes are fantastic. You'll see lots of really cool whip pans.
Panning, just like in the movie.
Lots of cool zooming and lots of Bruce Campbell wisecracks.
Listen up, Shake and Bake. I eat evil for breakfast and danger for dinner, so spread the word. Ash is back in business.
One of my favorite elements of this game, though, is that you're not just playing as Ash running around blowing away zombies and stuff like that. You also get a little helper whose name is Sam, and he's an undead sort of zombie midget character. He's a little zombie, an undead little zombie, and you can basically thrash this guy around. You can kick him into basketball hoops and score buckets with him, or you can kick him into fans and chop him up into little bits and pieces. And then you can also get him just throwing him onto zombies and skeletons and stuff, and he just wreaks havoc. He's kind of like the Joe Pesci of zombie sidekicks.
There you go.
And he's a great little character.
Yeah, you're equipped with your boomstick, you get your chainsaw in the beginning, you lose it, you get it again. So, it really, but the thing that most impressed me is it really does, as you said, captures the Evil Dead spirit. It captures the vibe of Evil Dead. They have finishing moves as well, which are really easy to pull off. So
I didn't like that. I mean, the context-sensitive thing is a big sort of deal in video games right now, where everything is sort of simplified and mapped to one button.
I love that.
But it just gets a little kind of tedious having to just, do every kind of climb action, or like going up against the wall, or doing all your finishing moves with one specific,
I love that.
Button. I didn't like that they had to tie the ability to do a finishing move until you got the green mist around the character. I wish that you could do like some cool combo maneuver, because you can mix up the shotgun and then the chainsaw stuff, but it should be one smooth motion, and it shouldn't have to be, after a certain amount of time. You should be able to just pull off a button combination and do some pretty cool damage that way.
Now, I think this is all very interesting too, because my understanding is that they're redoing the Evil Dead movie. Sam Raimi, of course, had mucho success with the Spider-Man films.
Right.
Now they're going back. Now, I'm hoping that they don't get too crazy with the budget, because the reason that Evil Dead was such a cool movie was because they had no money, so...
I think Sam Raimi's never going to have that problem again. I think he's going to
get but they got to do it
a
low
Spider-Man budget on an Evil Dead movie.
No. See, that'll ruin it. That'll ruin it. Don't do it, Sam.
It's going to be crazy.
Don't
He's going to have all kinds of new powers.
Yeah, baby.
So what are you going to give Evil Dead Regeneration?
I'm giving it an 8.5.
Oh, man, you loved it.
Yeah.
I'm giving it an 8. Great game.
On the positive side, the controls are really simple. We love torturing the little sidekick Sam. The sounds, including Bruce Campbell's voiceovers, are really authentic. But the best part of all is that it really captures the essence of the Evil Dead license.
On the negative side, I had some issues with the context-sensitive actions throughout the game. And speaking of context-sensitive, I kind of wish that you could do the finishing moves on the fly and sort of when you want to. Hey, this is a story about deja vu. I'm playing Harvest Moon, More Friends of Mineral Town, and this is very similar to Friends of Mineral Town. But instead of playing a little boy type farmer that goes through a whole story and collecting things and like treating his farm and raising cows and chickens and stuff, now you're a girl farmer. So I play Vicky in the game, and Vicky's actually a pretty cool little character. She's trying to woo a husband, which is the exact opposite of what you used to do in the other Mineral Town game. Harvest Moon, more friends of Mineral Town. It looks very similar to the last GBA game. To be honest, the thing that I was really surprised about playing this game, especially on the DS, I think it's time for a Harvest Moon game with the DS interface with the stylus, so you can do stuff in the fields and pet your cows and chickens and puppies and stuff like that with your stylus. But it still plays great, it looks really cute, and it's very addictive. Harvest Moon, more friends of Mineral Town, 8 out of 10. Don't go away. When we come back, Tommy and I review MotoGP 3.
All right, now here's a game that's close to my heart. I'm talking about Playboy The Mansion. That's right, folks. Playboy, they made the Playboy game. And I gotta tell you, this one is pretty good. They did it on the PC as well, but also available on the Xbox. And what was great about this game is that it was very kind of like Sims-like, in that you had to, the same kind of view, and you had to go in and meet people and everything. You didn't have to take care of your people. You didn't have to go to the bathroom and feed yourself and sleep all the time, which was cool. So none of that micromanagement was there, but it was about meeting people, meeting beautiful people and girls and things like that. And then, but what you were trying to do, the goal was to create a magazine of Playboy each month. It's very kind of soft stuff. It's nothing hardcore or dirty about it. It's just a pretty fun game. Lots of beautiful digitized women. I'm talking about Playboy The Mansion.
All right, we're back. We're talking now about MotoGP 3. This one's developed by Climax, published by THQ for the Xbox.
Climax, what is up with these developer names? You ever climax in your cranky pants?
Just insulting developers around the world.
So this is a motorcycle racing game, eh?
This is a motorcycle racing game. Yes, it is. We haven't really had great motorcycle racing games in quite a while.
Right.
And it seems that Climax has sort of cornered the market on these things. And what was cool about MotoGP, even from the beginning, is that they were one of the first games out there to really take advantage of Xbox Live. MotoGP 2 upped the ante and made the Xbox Live experience even better. And now with MotoGP 3, this is an amazing multiplayer game that you definitely have to experience on Xbox Live. But what they've added to the experience this time, it's not just regular sort of track races that you would see in a MotoGP circuit. Now they have these extreme modes that allow you to race in cities and in the desert. You get all kinds of varied kinds of backgrounds.
The problem of that is that it's still the same old thing. It's still just you're racing and there's a straight line of racers and you have to, get it. I mean, it's almost like the
Forza,
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, it's like a Forza or Gran Turismo style of sim type racing.
Again, I'm more of the arcade style racer guy, so I like really tight controls.
It's a pretty forgiving game, though. I mean, you can pretty much lean into every corner, and you're not going to spill on everything.
Right.
You do end up hitting the other guys on the course because there's lots of different races that you race against.
But you can't knock the other guys off.
It's not Road Rash. But EA really should really get Climax to build their Road Rash update.
I tell you what, every single time I came next to another biker, I was just wishing, praying that I could take out a bat or a chain and whack him in his nads.
I hear you. But I miss the Road Rash too. I think it would have been great if they'd done something like that.
But aside from the nad whacking, what I'm saying is that you
something vulgar.
No, you can't even knock over the enemy bikers.
You can by accident. You can't go out there and purposely try to knock people over because more often than not, you will fall over.
It's a part of racing, though. If you're going to do a bike racing simulation, you have to throw all that fun stuff in. No, let's take all the fun part out and make it
fun. I don't understand. What are you talking about?
It looks nice, but it doesn't look any nicer than the other 1,000 racing games that we've seen come out the last 2 or 3 years.
Yes, but most of them aren't motorcycle racing games, and it's a completely different dynamic. For instance, you have to use the right analog thumbstick to handle the throttling on the bike. It really gives you more of a sense of ownership of the controls, because otherwise it's almost like an on-off situation, and you can't do that with the bike. It's a constant you know, braking and gassing kind of situation and go through every hairpin turn.
You know, for people looking for really fast-paced, you know, driving action, go pick up Burnout 3 if you don't have it.
Super fast-paced driving action, incredible wipeouts, beautiful scenery. I love MotoGP 3.
I'll wait for Road Rash.
8.5. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 6.5.
Oh man, you are brutal. On the positive side, the visuals in this game are fantastic. The Xbox Live functionality is superb. And this time around, Climax has mixed it up with some pretty cool street and fantasy courses.
On the negative side, because of the sim-style gameplay, I felt the controls were a little too touchy. Most of the time, if you smack into another biker, you're the one who falls down. But the biggest thing for me was that this was more of a sim game, and I wanted to see a lot more nad-whacking.
All right, stick around. We're coming right back with Sonic Gems Collection for the GameCube.
You think Sonic's gems are blue, too? All right, I'm talking about Namco Museum Battle Collection for the PSP. I gotta tell you, for old farts like me, this has gotta be one of the best handheld games out there. I am having so much fun with this one. I'm talking Pac-Man, I'm talking Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxian, Xevious. How about Rolling Thunder? Remember that one? Oh geez, did I forget Dig Dug and Bosconian? How about Dig Dug 2? But wait, it gets better. They've even included new updated versions just for the PSP. They're called the arranged versions. I keep saying, why the heck doesn't anyone do a updated version of Galaga and just give me 3D graphics and really cool backgrounds and music based on the original? Guess what? It's in here. What do they have arranged? How about Dig Dug arranged? How about Pac-Man arranged? How about Rally X arranged? For the first time ever, I'm giving a handheld game a perfect 10.
All right, we're back, and if you can hear me, we're gonna be reviewing...
What's that you say?
If you can hear me, we're reviewing Sonic Gems Collection from Sega for the GameCube. What do you think of Sonic Gems Collection?
I think I want to grab a barrel and go over that.
We should have bullhorns for this review.
That would be funny.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be good.
No, they'd hate us. They probably already do. What do you think of Sonic Gems Collection? Which is different from Sonic Mega Collection, which came out before, and that had the really good Sonic games. This has...
all the other ones.
This has the gems.
Well, I don't know if I'd call these the gems, because Mega Collection had the real gems.
Right, zirconium of the Sonic games.
Well, you know, some of the games on here, like Sonic Spinball.
Yeah, but it's for the Game Gear.
For the...
It's not the Sega Genesis version, which we already... This is the Game Gear. There's 6 Game Gear games on here, and I have to say, there's nothing like playing a Game Gear game
on full screen
on a giant HD TV screen with surround sound.
Right.
that crackly Sega never sounded better than... You know what I find? Any 2D Sonic game, pretty fun.
Yes.
Even on the Game Gear. They're all kind of pretty cool, where you run around and do the loop-de-loops, and you've got the, you know, the pinball levels, and you got the, you know, the regular jungle levels and breakaway stuff. All that stuff is pretty fun.
They should have made this for the PSP.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing...
I was thinking, or the DS.
Yeah, there's nothing that they couldn't do on with these games that you couldn't put on the PSP or the DS.
I absolutely agree with you.
But to put it on the GameCube...
Yeah, I mean, playing Game Gear games on the Cube, not that cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that they've added, though, that I really like about this is Vector Man 1 and 2, that definitely...
We just ruined the surprise for everybody.
That's all right.
When you first put it in, it says a bunch of question marks you don't know, but we had to figure out what they were.
Yep.
We did, and they were the old Vector Man games, which I know you liked a lot.
I love those games. What are you going to give Sonic Gems Collection?
Would have liked to have seen it on the handheld, would have got a higher score, but I'm giving it a 5.5.
Wow, you're going way down in the middle. I'm going to give these games a 7. I think that it's better than average. There's quite a few different games on there. On the positive side, you get a bunch of games on a budget price disc. We like that. It seems that anytime you make a 2D scrolling Sonic game, it's fun, even on the Game Gear. And you also get Vector Man 1 and 2. That's awesome.
On the negative side, with Sonic Mega Collections already out on the market, this one seems a little subpar. A lot of the games on this disc are only going to appeal to the hardcore Sonic fans out there, And we just felt overall that this game would have been better suited for a handheld machine as opposed to the GameCube.
Today in hardware, we have a new DS starter kit. This one's from Pelican, and you get a whole bunch of stuff for about 20 bucks US. What did you think of the DS starter kit?
Well, I think the one really good thing in the pack is the car charger.
I've used my DS for long stretches of time, and I don't have to recharge it that often.
I'm not sure what you would do with the car charger for your DS. I guess maybe if you're camping. Then you have these two really hard plastic things.
Very heavy. They're like cigarette cases, but you plug in the very light DS and GBA cartridges into them.
Remember the DS is supposed to be a portable thing?
Yeah.
You get these two big clonking things.
They're heavy.
That only carry 3 DS games and 2 Game Boy games.
I think they're bulletproof, but they do give you a little keychain ring thing.
You know, I brought that with me.
Which has like the...
Where the hell did that go?
Sticky tape stuff on it, where you can actually tape DS cartridges to them.
You can actually tape it to your head.
Or you can tape it right to your forehead.
Now, where did I put those darn DS cartridges? Where did they go?
They'd be right there, stuck to your head.
Ow!
Did that hurt a little bit? I can't recommend it.
Nor I.
On the positive side, you get a bunch of crap for 20 bucks. We didn't actually test this, but we think the cartridge holders are bulletproof. And you can use the keychain thing as an Amazon nose ring.
On the negative side, now that you have all these accessories, it no longer makes your DS portable. The DS battery life is already great. Why would you need a car charger? And the keychain thing is just a little too big for the Prince Albert.
Did you just say Prince Albert?
No.
We're going to be right back with Versus. We got 2 giant robot games going head-to-head. His favorite.
Head-to-head.
And they got Prince Albert. To the hit list. Here are 5 of our favorite giant robot games. Number 1 is Mechasalt. Number 2, Zone of the Enders 2. Number 3, Future Cop LAPD. Number 4, Steel Battalion. And number 5, Robot Alchemic Drive. All right, today on Versus, we have 2 giant robot fighting games. We've got Mobile Suit Gundam, Gundam versus Zeta Gundam. That's right, I said Gundam 3 times.
Stop, that's one game?
That's one game.
That sounds like 4 games.
I know. Versus Armored Core 9-Breaker. Both of these are for the PlayStation 2. What did you think about the graphics for these 2 mech fighting games?
They look very similar, both games, I gotta say. That
They do, because you're in, you know, you've got a robot that you're moving around and you're fighting each other and stuff. But I would say Armored Core
has more special effects.
And it's a lot more elegant, I think, looking than Mobile Suit Gundam. Mobile Suit Gundam is like a super cartoon, saturated colors.
Lots of colors.
Armored Core, they kind of went in a simplistic kind of style with the environments, but I really like the details that they put into the different armored cores, the different giant robots. I thought they were really articulated, lots of different customizable elements. I would definitely give the nod to Armored Core 9-Breaker.
Me too.
What about in the sound department?
Well, you know, the VO in these games are just both horrible. I mean, somebody needs to do something.
Well, it's
I don't know, you know, over the top, cheesy, bad acting.
I think more in Mobile Suit Gundam. In the Armored Core, though, it's not really a story-based game at all. It's just like robot announcers telling you that you're ready for your next thing. Whereas in Gundam, they have, you know, these actors basically trying to recreate the cartoon, bouncing back and forth, and it
doesn't work.
It's really annoying. But what really surprised me was the really shoddy, you know, explosion sounds and giant. I mean, they don't sound like robots walking.
Now, moving over to the music, though,
I like the music in both games.
I enjoy the music, the kind of classical orchestral style
stuff,
of Gundam. But the Armored Core made me almost want to vomit with that Casio electronic.
I didn't like it at first either, but I actually started to get into the groove.
Oh, come on now. You're not going to make a CD and play that in your car,
I like the music. Come on, some music does that to you. It gets you and it hooks you and you end up liking it in spite of yourself.
But you know what? When you have to compare it in a situation like we are against classical orchestral music that
much better, more refined.
The action, I'm going to give it to the Gundam game.
You know what? I like the sound effects better in Armored Core, marginally better, and I actually didn't mind the music at all. I'm giving it to Armored Core.
All right.
All right, now what about in the gameplay department? How do these two compare?
I think here's where it really kind of, you know, branches off. The Gundam game, there's a lot of depth. There's, you know, versus mode and training modes and survival modes
Story
and
mode.
battle royale.
I would agree that Gundam does have a lot of diversity in the styles of gameplay that you get. I mean, you do get all of these different modes, but what you do get when you actually jump into the game is a very thin, 2-minute long kind of battle with another robot, and then you might have different missions that sort of break out, but more than anything, you're just fighting lots of robots in these different lame environments.
Right. Well, it's more of an arcade style.
It's very arcadey. It's very thin. I mean, that's the only thing that I can use to describe it, especially after we played great mech games like the Mech Assault, and I hate to keep bringing these up, but Mech Assault and Steel Battalion are kind of the high watermark in this genre. And once you go from there and come to something like this where it feels so arcadey and light, it's just not satisfying at all. Whereas the Armored Core is going in a different direction. It's really just pitting your, you know, created robot, which is almost like a Lego creation with all the sort of different parts you can put in.
Different things like that.
That blew me away.
For me personally, I got more excitement out of playing the Gundam game.
For me, I had more fun. I thought it was a more cohesive, enjoyable experience. Armored Core gets my vote. Overall, what are you going to give your selection to?
Overall, I'm going to go with Gundam because overall, I like the gameplay more. I think it's a more in-depth game, and the music was good for me.
It depends what you mean in terms of in-depth.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I didn't like it.
You know, I'm giving Armored Core my vote. What are you going to give Mobile Suit Gundam, Gundam versus Zeta Gundam?
I'm going to give it a 6.0 Gundam.
I'm giving that one a 5.5. What are you going to give to Armored Core 9-Breaker?
I'm giving 9-Breaker the 5-Breaker.
7.5 from me. All right, so there you have it. We're split on these two giant mech games. I liked Armored Core better. He liked Mobile Suit Gundam. I guess your option out there is to rent them both and see which one you prefer.
And neither of them are great.
Today on the show, Tommy and I took a look at Evil Dead Regeneration. There's a terrific sense of that authentic Sam Raimi style in this game, but the context-sensitive actions weren't perfect. MotoGP 3. This is an incredibly fast and rich motorcycle racing game, but Tommy really wanted to bash the other riders with a baseball bat, Road Rash style. Sonic Gems Collection. In addition to all the Sonic games on this disc, you also get a couple of great Vector Man games, but Sega used the term gems a little loosely here. In Versus, it was Mobile Suit Gundam, Gundam vs. Zeta Gundam, which gives you tons of cartoony Gundam robots to collect, but the action is pretty arcadey and light. Against Armored Core 9-Breaker, which features a bajillion different robot parts to interact with, but the gameplay is definitely more sim-based arena combat. In the end, Tommy and I were split on these two giant robot games, and we recommend that you rent them both and pick the one you like better. I like some of the little touches, too, the humorous touches throughout the game, like all of a sudden you'll be walking down a hallway and you go to a door and wood barricades will slam into place or the door will whack Ash off or something like. Well, that sounds bad. That's really bad. You got me thinking about Cranky Pants.